Three, two, one. We are live. Well, not live. It's not live, but we're recording. I've done a
Yeah.
live one before, and it was terrible, and I hated it because people would. I was on Twitch, and people would just pop in, and there was
Yeah.
like a couple people, and they kept saying racist stuff, and it kept popping up on my chat, like on the screen, and so I had to like get rid of the chat box. That's lost to time and isn't on the YouTube channel because I don't want the N word on my YouTube channel. I don't want it to be a prominent mainstay. Uh, but
Yeah.
since I don't have any topics because this was rushed, I'm gonna ask a basic question. Uh,
Oh, all right.
how's the college life doing to you, especially now with Corona ruining everything?
I have so many things to say about that, but I've said them so many times. I hate it. Online learning isn't for me, and I don't know how it works for most other people, but I have no Zoom classes. So my life is absolutely no structure whatsoever, and I have no motivation to do anything. It's absolutely the worst. Um, yeah, that's like I just don't. And then the other thing that happens is that I have classes that are normally like, like 50 minutes long, an hour and 15 minutes long. Fine, okay. I will get lecture videos that can be as short as like 10 minutes, but then as long as 2 hours. So it's just really inconsistent. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, on my end, I was lucky. All my classes were like, well, we don't want to do any of that stuff, so we're just gonna not do it.
Well,
And you're gonna get like a couple assignments per week, and they're all due on Sunday. So I have like one day of the week I choose to
oh
get all my shit done. I talked about this on the last
yeah,
fucking episode, but
no,
it's
because
yeah.
nothing will get you through like the rush of last minute panic. You're just like chilling 6 days a week, and on Sunday you're just like, oh,
Well, I've set Thursday is the day I sit down and grind.
oh
I
yeah.
don't know why Thursday I'm like really mellow. I don't have any like. I'm just kind of like vibing, you know. And
Why
so
Thursday?
I don't know. I don't know.
What?
Wednesday is usually the day where I'm like really productive and I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But then when I pull out homework, I go, I don't want to
Yeah,
talk to people on discussion boards.
yeah.
I push
No,
this discussion board abnormally far back though. I usually do it on Thursday.
yeah. No, I was working on one of the things I have to do is one of my classes is like a writing class, and the whole semester is like it's like semester long research paper. And it's fine, because they gave us complete freedom to do whatever topic we wanted to choose.
Hmm.
But one of the things we have to do is do like a peer review of someone else's rough draft. And the rough draft that I got was this dude who was doing research on the KKK and how their practices in the 21st century can be considered acceptable.
What
Uh,
does he mean by acceptable?
he says that they don't
Socially?
deserve to be completely bashed by society just because they have the label of the KKK, because apparently in the 21st century they're all good. Um, it's great.
What?
No, he cited this like entry, and he's just like, yeah, actually, cross burning is really about like the bond and the power and the fellow clansmen. It's not about hatred. And I'm just like, oh, I don't think it might be.
That's that's it's kind of like, have you seen those like documentaries where they interview KKK people and like they all say I'm not racist.
But
It's like, but and then
yeah,
they say
no,
this
it
freaking
was real rough, son. And the worst part about it is like maybe I could give this guy some just very small semblance of a grace if he like put intelligent thought and maybe had like decent. No, this dude was also like awful grammar. Like his essay was disorganized, just didn't convince me at all.
mhm.
So not only did I rag him on his trash writing, but he's now getting ragged for supporting the goddamn KKK.
I like how
Um,
it was like a school paper or as well, like
Yeah,
meant for
it's
like
for
other people to read, and critique. And it's
yeah.
like he's like,
Well,
I'm gonna have a super unpopular take on a topic,
yeah,
and completely go balls to the walls with it. No, you
yeah.
didn't read it wrong. I do think they're okay. Like that's so
No,
like some
it was
people.
just, and I'm just like, all right, I need to get this shit over with. So I did it. I filled out my whole peer review thing. I meticulously edited and commented his paper, right? And my writing professor got back to me, and she's just like, hey, so here's the deal. You get this really fast, like faster than she was expecting, like all of us to do it. 'Cause she gave us like a week to go through them all. She's like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you another one because it looks like you did a good job. And I'm just like, no, I did a good job because I was fueled by the disagreement. Now I get this other one, and it's about like the loyalty of sports fans, which I don't really care that much about if
That's
I'm being honest. And I'm just like, oh, and it's just real rough, you know. It's not what I asked for.
I really like that. Like I've just received this review of one of my students' paper by another one of my students, and I really agree, with what he said. He did it really well, really quick. He's clearly skilled in this.
Good God.
So I'm going to, instead of giving him, praise for getting it done quickly, I'm going to give him more of that thing,
Yeah. That
to
is
really
exactly
hone the craft, and I expect it to be of equal quality. Why?
I because no, my English teacher is fun. One day we analyzed an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's the episode, if you know it, it's the one where Dennis is eating cereal in the car and gets
Good episode.
rear-ended by Danny DeVito. And they
You
have the
dumb
whole
bitch.
court case. Yeah, they have the whole court case, and my teacher's just like, now look at how they're using ethos, pathos, and logos to like support their arguments, and look at how they're doing things like attacking the character instead of actually like analyzing the case. And I'm just like, oh my god, it was the best class ever. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like that's college education. I love
It's
it.
I love how in college, one thing I noticed when I first got last year, when I first got in, and first couple of classes, I was like, they really like mask off. Like you'll be like with a professor, and he'll be like, so today we're talking about this article written by this person. I hate it. I hate it, and I don't agree with them. But we're gonna look at
Yeah,
it anyways, and I'm not gonna grade too hard because I hate their work. It's like, why are you doing
yeah.
it then? But it's like
I don't know.
they
There's
just
some of these professors you got to start somewhere. I I remember very clearly my like mask off moment. It wasn't my first college class. My first college class was like a 500 person lecture for
oh, I
like
hate those.
computer science stuff, and it was taught by this like hilariously old man who later I learned ended up being just terrible, but that's a whole other thing. But that was just like, oh, okay, this is college, in the lecture halls, doing notes on the computer, whatever. I walked into my class. It's actually a different writing class I was taking. First of all, love what they're doing with the writing department at Virginia Tech because I have enjoyed every class that I've done. But this guy, my writing professor for first semester, he walked in. First of all, he walked in. He was 10 minutes late. And he walked in. And he like dropped all his books, not even on his desk, just kind of like on the floor. And he's just like, "Hey guys, I'm really sorry. This is my first day here. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's your first day too, so I'm not gonna take too much of your time. 15 minutes and we're out." Like he's looking over the syllabus, which is clearly like the I don't know, like the bare bones, like
Hmm.
probably basic English syllabus that they make everyone like kind of like build off of. And he's just like, oh yeah, so here it's talking about like some of your like professional development as a writer. yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm just gonna be taking this in my own way, and I'm just like, yes, I love that man. He's fantastic. I actually enjoyed a writing class, which I never did that in high school.
The best professors are the ones that make you enjoy the fact that you're doing
Yeah,
work you don't want to do. I
exactly.
I have a professor story. I probably have told you before, you specifically when we were at Christmas,
Oh man.
but but I don't know if I've told it on the podcast. But I am a mass media colon broadcast. I think that's the right thing. Colon broadcast operations major, which means cameras, mics, directing, movies, TV, crap like that. Media. It's mass media. And so the professors for that, like within the major, not just general ed, but within the major, tend to be not like educators. They're more people who have done it before, so they can talk about it. Like,
For sure.
like I have an example. Like the dude running the whole freaking department. I don't think he has a. Like, I don't think he's like a professor. Like, I don't think he qualifies to have that term.
Yeah.
But we call him that anyway. It's just.
Yeah.
But my freshman year, last year, I had. I'm not gonna say his name. I'll call him K. So, because
Okay.
this is one of those things where his name is in the world, is in the wild, but I just out of courtesy, because what I'm about to tell may not want to be known by people. So,
Sure. Yeah.
K was my, I believe it was called Introduction to Broadcast Operations. I'll call him a teacher, not a professor. he, he was unique, quite unique fellow. And he came in as, like, similar to what your story was, late, but every day. And his teaching consisted of putting something on the projector, often commercials he had saved on my flash drive. And instead of telling us how they're made or teaching us anything, like, he did not touch the curriculum. He would show us these commercials and go, you see that right there? That Star Wipe? Guess how much that costs? And we'd throw numbers, obviously wrong because we're freshmen. We have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
5,000 per wipe. It's like, okay, how's this supposed to benefit us? And that was our daily activity until we finally got into like the practical, like we'd go into the studio, work with the machinery and all that crap. And so he to me, he felt like a really shit teacher who was funny sometimes, but also an asshole. That's all they got from him. And I had him for 2 classes, but one of them was just like him presenting stuff and me doing projects on the computer, boring. And then this year, last semester, I had a class that was, it was like digital media production. It was just like graphic design, like it's a required for the major. And I'm like, I hear people talking, and I hear his name pop up, and like, have you heard about Kay lately? And they're like, no, what happened to him? What happened to him? And I perk up. It's like, yeah, he came in. You didn't know he came in drunk and high. they're like, yeah, I knew he came in drunk, but high too. So apparently, what I learned from this is that almost every day he was late, it was because he was extremely hungover, and he would drink to the point like where he would fall asleep and wake up, and it would still feel drunk because like not enough time's passed,
Oh yeah.
and so, and so, the reason he was always sitting down and half asleep in the chair in the back of the studio was because he was extremely hungover and most likely also high. Not high like weed high, high like he just got off of a morphine binge high. And so,
wow. That's
yeah, yeah, he got in trouble because he came to class one day and standing in the front of the room did this, whap, right on the ground and passed out. And they had to drag him out of the studio and put him in a chair, give him water, and he got fired like the next day. And I think they got a sub for the rest because it was like, I think it was like 4 weeks left of the semester or something. I'm like, I had no idea this happened because as soon as my classes with him ended, I obviously never saw him again. and
Yeah.
that's the most interesting professor I've ever had. But
Okay.
the rest are relatively normal, just kind of weird.
Yeah. No, it's the same. I have my writing professors who have always been like cool and unique, and honestly, I'm probably gonna remember them throughout everyone else. But all my other professors, it's just like big old lecture classes. The professor's just someone who's there that's just kind of talking, telling me things I
Hmm.
need to know. With the exception, I guess, of my math classes, because they make those really, really small. And the reason that they do that is because they like to give math classes to like the grad students to teach if you're like,
Hmm.
doing like a graduate's degree in math, which is great because a lot of these people, like, they're not teachers, they're grad students. And I remember my Calc 2 teacher this semester. He's great. I like him as a person, but he's a little he struggles with a few things. For example, he assigned us this written homework, right?
Hmm.
Where he's just like, hey, here's like a PDF of some problems. Do them, write them down on paper, hand them in. Okay. He told us this like on a Friday, and he's just like, yeah, they're due next Wednesday. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Completely forgot about it. And then on Tuesday, so I heard someone talk about like written homework, and I'm just like, ooh, written homework, ooh. I don't know about all that. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, I heard there was like some written homework due tomorrow. I haven't seen anything on Canvas. Do you know? He's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's written homework due. It's just I haven't figured out how to assign a due date for it on Canvas. And I looked at him dead in the eye and said, well, can you learn? Because now I just have to do it tonight. And he's just like, he just kind of stared back at me with a blank expression in his face. And he's just like, huh? I said, yeah, because, it'd be cool to see that in Canvas. I like to manage my things there. And he's just like, okay. And then we never spoke about it again.
uh, I very much dislike professors who are like that, but a-holes about it. So like they're ignorant and they don't
Yeah.
want to admit it, and they're assholes.
Mm-hmm.
I had I think it was my, I know the person. I can't remember the class because I'm like a brain dead zombie in class. I absorb info, and other than that, I have no memories.
Oh,
So like, I don't remember. I don't know any of their names really, except for the weird ones. But they
yeah.
were like, they weren't putting things on Canvas. They were doing their own way. Oh, it's my Gov professor. So you know how Canvas has like those modules on the side where you can click on things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, he didn't like those, personal
Oh,
preference of his. So he just did this thing where if you scroll down on the homepage, he made this really shittily colored graph. It was like neon colors, ugly. No one liked it, and
no.
you had to make sense of this jumbled mess and click on things to get to assignments. Because if you tried to get through them through the actual assignments tab or the modules tab, you wouldn't be able to find anything. Nothing's sorted by date. Nothing's sorted. It is
Yeah.
so disorganized. So this COVID-19 stuff actually forced him to organize his canvas. And for the
Oh,
first time, I can go on that website and look at what I need to get done and when I need to do it. Before I couldn't do that. So it's the only time a global pandemic will help me pass government class
oh,
because
oh
he's an
man.
idiot. So
Man, don't you love it when professors do what they're expected to do and it feels like you just got them to find the cure to cancer and you're just like, "Whoa, they did something that they're supposed to do that makes my life easier." And it's like the greatest feeling in the world. And then you sit back and you're just like, "Wait, they're supposed to do this." Huh.
the fact that that's a
Isn't it
feeling
something?
is sad. I should not have to acknowledge the fact that the opposite exists. I don't want to be in the other side of that, you know? I want to only know that everything is done right.
Yeah.
I should be the one struggling, not them. When we both struggle, there's no connection there. It's just two angry idiots yelling at each other. There's
Yeah,
no there's no helping. But it works. I I manage. I'm sure you manage.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Since since this started, all right, I've had two tests,
Mm-hmm.
and the highest grade I've gotten on those two tests is a 76. We're
Well,
doing great.
if you were me, that'd be better than usual.
Oh,
So to me, I'm like,
well,
wow, want to switch?
no, I don't want
Want
to
to get my
switch.
65?
No, I don't want to. Well, actually, so funny you mentioned that specific number. That just so happens to be the other grade.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, no, it was complete crap. So my math test, the two tests I've had in math and physics. For my math test, my teacher just is like, yeah, so it's gonna be like, open note, but don't
Mm-hmm.
do things like use an online calculator. I'm just like, okay, cool. And he's just like, but because it's open note, I am gonna make it. And he's in his words, he said, a little more challenging than what you might have expected based on the last test. And I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. And I got the
Mm-hmm.
test, and it was pretty rough. It took me about 3 hours when it should have taken me probably 50 minutes. But don't worry, apparently uh, that was a good thing that it took me 3 hours.
There was no
And
time
I
limit?
submitted it because what he wanted us to do was the same thing with our written homework. He wanted us to write all of our answers on a piece of paper and then take pictures of the piece of paper and upload them to Canvas. So that was fun because I could leave a little comment, and I left a comment that said, "Hey, that was pretty rough, man," and that was it. Um, and later that day, it was like he assigned the test. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. He assigned the test on a Saturday. A
On a
Saturday.
Saturday?
On a Saturday. He's
That
just
he
like,
knows what he's
hey,
doing.
I'm making the test available Saturday, 8 a.m. Submit it by Sunday on noon. So, some flexibility, but basically, I had to do it on Saturday because there's no way I could have woken up on Sunday and then be ready to turn that in
Who's
by noon on
who's
Sunday.
that? Who'd you
Like
just push away?
that just wasn't gonna happen. And so I had to do it on a Saturday, and so I left a comment that said, "Hey, that was pretty rough, man." Like later that day at around 6 p.m., he's just like, "Guys, stop telling me that the test was hard. I know it was hard. I made it." And we're just like, "Why did you do us dirty like that, man?"
He
That was
didn't
that was
have to
rough.
go that dirty, but he did.
Oh no, it gets worse. Now let's discuss the physics situation. So the physics department is running what they're calling a webcam monitored test.
I've heard about those.
And we have to install this browser called Lockdown Browser
We
that's
already
just like,
we use that for every
oh,
test.
you can't like navigate to anything else. It only
Hmm.
like whenever I launch it, it only launches Canvas, which we've already been doing that for tests just because it's easier on the professors. They don't have to feed scantrons into machines or whatever. But here's what you got to do for this test. You got to before you even start, you have to do like an audio and video check, and you have to run facial recognition so they can confirm that your face matches like your student ID. So I had to hold my student ID up to the camera like this,
Hmm.
and then had to wait for the system to like match it with my face before I could even be allowed to take my test. Which, first of all, no one in my family could do better on that test than I could. Like, first of all,
Yeah.
so I don't know what they're trying to prove
Maybe they
there.
don't want you
And
to like
then
have a piece of paper over it with your face or something like stuck up here.
yeah, I guess. So and then the other thing, and then obviously your webcam is on the entire time when you're recording or when you're taking the test, and your audio is on too. And they're just like, make sure you're in a quiet environment. And then here's the part where I started, getting a little confused. For my physics class, we're allowed here. I actually still have it. we're allowed to make like these formula sheets, and we're allowed to
Hmm.
write literally whatever we want on it, right?
Yeah.
Um, just because physics sucks, and when you can have your own formulas, it makes life a little bit easier.
Hmm.
So we're allowed to have those, but then also they're just like, yeah, make sure you don't look away from the computer screen. And so I have the worksheet or the equation sheet, and then I also have like my scratch work that I need to do because it's physics, and that's what you do. Um, so I don't really know how they're able to differentiate someone like, looking at their formula sheet or looking at or writing some scratch paper as opposed to someone who's got like a textbook open or like has their phone and they're just reading right here and they're, oh yeah, no, it's my formula sheet. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand the point.
It's one of those things where if anyone has at least half of a brain, they'll have their phone right here, and then their sheet also right there.
Yeah.
So
But,
like,
but
no one, you can't. Anyone can type with one hand, one thumb. That's all you need.
yeah.
But
No, it's
yeah,
it was a multiple choice. So like you just one hand on the mouse, one hand holding up the phone, like right here. You're like, like, or you can even just stand it up like on your laptop. You can't tell, but I am able to see my phone right now.
hmm,
It's like right on the center of my screen
yeah,
here. Yeah. Like so, I just don't understand what the point of all that was. And
yeah.
this is just a rumor, but I did hear that. Oh, okay. I did hear that they made the TAs actually like all the physics TAs like sit through and watch everyone's video to make sure that there wasn't like
Oh,
blatant cheating.
that sounds
Um,
gross. Didn't at least they? Hopefully, they at least they had them all on like the screen at once or something.
yeah, that's it's like a
Uh,
pseudo NSA. It's just all the videos of us taking tests. They're just like, they looked about 13 degrees to the right for 15 seconds here.
I don't know about number 35. He looked off
Yeah.
the screen for 0.7283 seconds too long. I'm gonna have to write him up. He like types them up. Send in the report for number 35. Like it's like a fucking.
Nah, I guarantee you what happened is you have the person who got this and they just get hit with an email that says, "Hey, we need you to watch a 30 to 50 like hour to 2 hour videos of all these kids just taking a test and let us know if you see anything suspicious." So what they do is they receive that email, they're just like, yes, okay. Completely ignore it for 2 days. Send an email back being like, I've reviewed all the videos, nothing seems out of place here. That is all.
Or they watch it by opening it up, having it play, and they're just on their phone and they
Yeah. Even better, they can just be like, I need to cook some dinner. Might as well kill some of these videos. You're like in the background, like maybe you just like frying some fish or whatever, and be like, oh wow, look, that person's taking a test. Fantastic.
go. Looks
Yay.
legit to me.
Yeah. I just thought it was so stupid. It's such a bad system and it's a waste of resources. Have the TAs help us. 'Cause they don't do that. They're real mean to you if you want help. They're just like, why don't you know this? And I said, well, you know, I just don't.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying I'm trying to I'm trying to teach myself this stuff right now. Yeah, it's going as well as you'd expect.
Hmm.
I, it's
Yeah.
just, it's just one of those things, man.
Do you have SI sessions?
I have
I don't
what
know if they're
now?
called that, but for you, but it's like some classes have like a TA who will you meet up with them on a certain date every week, and you study with them what was talked about. Our school provides that, and no one does it, and so every
Yeah.
yeah, they send out Hangout links. So like
Oh
Google Hangout
yeah.
links, and I've joined one once just to see. Like I opened it up on my phone. It was like it opens like the service, and it pops up. My name
Yeah.
pops up. No, I had to give permissions to audio, video, but I turned my video off, and there was two other people there out of the
Yeah.
class of 50. I was like,
Oh.
I'm sure these are useful.
Yeah. No. We don't do that, but only some of my professors are doing like Zoom office hours where they're just like, hey, I'm setting up a meeting. I'll keep it up from about 4 to 5 on Tuesday. Uh, Send out a code, and they're just like, feel free to
Hmm.
join if you want to. Um, for my Python class, they actually are doing a pretty good job with that, but I don't need help in that class, which is really unfortunate. It's like the class designed with the most resources to help me, and I don't need it just because the class isn't that bad, and
Hmm.
it hurts so much.
Yeah, it's
But what are you gonna do, right?
oh yeah, it's like universe just doesn't want you to succeed. We're gonna
Yeah,
provide the resources, but for something that you find not difficult.
yeah.
Yeah, we I have had similar situations. My sisters have they're not professors in high school, so teachers are. They'll like do like a Zoom meeting, uh, and you just join, and they'll be like, "This is what we're doing
Oh,
this week." Blah 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 blah. It's optional. You don't even watch it. And
so
my yeah
they're doing like classes. They have stuff going on.
yeah they school for
How
them is
long have they
canceled.
been doing? How long
They
have they been like doing like Zoom classes?
Well, they don't do Zoom classes. They do Zoom meetings,
Oh,
and they're optional. But they've been
uh,
doing online classes since most of us have been doing them. And their school just sent out the word yes, 100%. Rest of the year, don't even
oh
bother.
really?
It's all online now. Yeah, same with me.
They just sent that out.
Rest of my year's gone. Rest of their year's gone. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm assuming for you it's the same. You're more of a metropolitan
Yeah,
area.
no, they told us that we everything was canceled a lot earlier. It was. I remember I got the call because I was home for spring break when they made the announcement that they were moving all online, and
Same.
that was like a Wednesday. At that point, my brother was still in school.
Hmm.
But uh, they I remember what happened is that that week they closed the school on Friday just to do like an emergency meeting to be like, hey, there's a that we're gonna go all online, so we need to prepare for that if it happens. And then I think it was on the Saturday, they're just like, yeah, we're gonna take a Monday as well. And then I think on either Sunday or Monday, our governor made an order, signed a mandate to close all public schools. At that point, it was until I think the end of March. They said, "All right, just all schools need to be closed. This is starting to become a serious problem." And then from there, it's just escalated. I remember the day that they came out officially, and they're just like, "Hey, shit's canceled. Rest of the year, it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
No more."
Yeah,
But
I remember.
They did that kind of a while ago. Must have been probably like middle of March. But here's the kicker about that. They've made this announcement official for the longest time. My
Hmm.
brother still hasn't started online like classes yet.
Really?
He doesn't have anything going on.
That's prob that makes no really they can't even like does he not have an online infrastructure like Canvas?
Yeah, no, they do. It's just that they haven't done anything yet. They're starting next week, and they just meet
Dude.
on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they just go through all their classes, and they have like assignments they need to do, and that's it.
Holy crap, he's got it easy.
No, I don't have it. He has it easy.
Yeah, he's got it easy. It's
Yeah,
like, dude.
I wish I had it like that.
I mean, I got
But
it pretty easy too.
I do feel bad for a lot of the seniors because they're probably not going to be able to like do graduation. They're probably going to miss like their prom. I know like commitment day where they all come in and wear their collared shirts is a huge thing. But if I'm being honest, my senior year, I would have given all that up to just kick back and not give a single fuck for from
Hmm.
like starting March all the way to the end of the year because I'm just being, oh, it's canceled. Okay. I mean, I had
Yeah.
AP exams, but you know they really didn't mean anything. So fuck it.
Yeah, I'm one of the people who's like, I would not care if they were like, yeah, we'll just mail you your, uh, what is it, diploma. We'll just mail you it. I would have been
Yeah,
like, go ahead, I don't care.
yeah,
Like I had the same sentiment with high school graduation. I thought it was not needed. I don't know. I don't like stuff like that, like big events.
yeah, sure.
I didn't want to go on stage and accept the thing, shake his hand. I obviously did do that. But I was just like, me and my friends were all in the same camp. Like, if we could just like just check a box that said mail it, I would. But
I mean,
my parents wouldn't agree
technically
with
you
that.
can. If you don't show up, they'll just mail it to you about a month
Yeah.
later. But, it means a lot for the family.
Hmm.
And I don't know, there's just something about sitting there that was kind of cool. Although, if I'm being honest, I think the thing that I remember the most about my graduation day is I was I was great because both my grandparents came to see it,
Hmm.
and they had the whole thing where we had to be at the school by like I think 11, um, so we could like congregate and then get on a bus because I live pretty close to DC, so they're just like, oh yeah, we gotta graduate in DC, so we had to take a bus into DC at like 1 o'clock,
Hmm.
which is just a bad idea. It takes too long. But they had the whole thing, and I remember I had to leave at probably like 10:45 or 11 o'clock to make sure I was at school in time to get on the bus. At 10:30, I was in like my button-down shirt that's not buttoned up all the way. I didn't have my tie on. I didn't have pants on, but I
Hmm.
was wearing my graduation, and and I was playing the original Borderlands on computer because they just came out with a remastered version, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, this is cool. I'm gonna do this. So that's what I was doing, and my mom came in like she's been ready for the last like 2 hours. Everyone's like getting ready to have this thing happen, and I'm just in my underwear playing fucking Borderlands, and I feel like, oh, is there a thing that's about to happen? And mom just looks at me and she's like, boy, your graduation. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that wearing this robe.
Yeah.
That is the most memorable thing about my graduation. I think about that at least once a week.
Hmm. I nothing cool happened. I didn't have any cool like fun stuff to like. I didn't. Ours was like way less of a, because where you live and where I live, two different
Yeah.
standards. We went to the venue that it's like this like sporting venue. We went to the venue just we in a car. We all met up.
Yeah.
We didn't meet at the school like and take a bus. We just all drove like separately. Get here at this
Oh,
date. Bring your crap. Uh, just a second. And just do. Sorry, my mom texted me. And just do your get. We'll just set it up there. And so I think that resulted in a lot of standing for long periods of
oh,
time and
ooh,
doing nothing. In uncomfortably, so I was wearing a button-up like shirt and pants, like
yeah,
fancy pants and fancy shoes, with
yeah,
that big blue freaking robe thing, and then the hat, right? And it was hot,
yeah.
so hot, and I was
Oh
like,
man, but
we're just
think
standing there, and
about
I'm next to people I don't know because it's alphabetical. So I just turned to the dude, and I'm like, are you hot or am I the only one? He's like, yeah, dude, it's freaking hot. And we're standing there. I'm like, I open a pit through the thing. Like, I was pitting that bad. And we go sit in these uncomfortably small chairs. And there's a
yep.
bunch of weird bangs under the floor for some reason that everyone was like looking around, like, what's going on? Because it was under us. And
Yeah.
then we went up on stage, did the thing, did the. Walked off. And it was done. Nothing really crazy happened. But I guess
Oh,
maybe in the future I'll look back and be like, that was pretty cool. But right now, I could have lived without it. But
yeah. I will say though, the one thing I got to notice, so because I did band in high school, one thing that we did was grad band, so we have to play pomp and circumstance for all the people walking in, which basically means that in my high school career, I've been to three graduations. for I guess the 2 years I did grad band, and then the time I actually graduated. But it was fun because I got to watch the guy who gave like our graduation speech make almost the exact same jokes as the guy who did it 2 years ago.
That's
He
weird.
opens up and he's just like, yeah, so a lot of people out here may not know me, and probably wondering why I'm up here on the stage. And then for those of you that do know me, you really wondering why I'm up on the stage, and I'm just like, I've heard that. I'm sure it's from a movie.
Either
And
that or a script somewhere
yeah,
that he had to read.
like, God, yo, I bet. By any chance, is there a graduation scene in American Pie? In any of the movies?
I
Did
don't
they
know.
graduate at
I don't know.
some point? I think
Probably.
in
I knew this dude in middle school. I knew him in middle school and in high school, and he was one of those people who's into like those old high school and college movies, like movies that took place. They were in the '80s, made in the '80s, and took place in high school or college. And he was really into like that really small, I guess relatively large genre, specific genre of movies, and he'd make stupid references no one understood because nobody watched those.
oh yeah. Oh, so
And he
you
made the
talking
same,
about
like he would reference them similar like graduation speech jokes, and it was
yeah.
everyone hated him for it.
Are you
So
talking about movies like The Breakfast Club and like Pretty in Pink, stuff like that?
yeah, but the more like not popular ones, like just weird obscure bargain bin movies that happen to be of the
Oh,
same genre. And
oh.
he knew some weird ones because I know what Breakfast Club is. Like,
Well, yeah,
I'm not
everyone
under a
knows that.
rock, but
Yeah, it's a good
yeah,
movie.
I just it was annoying. It could have been from the best movie ever, and I'd be like, dude, stop referencing and making
Yeah.
jokes for movies. It's just annoying. But yeah, that's my experience with that. But I don't know.
All
It
right.
just irks me. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
References I don't fully understand or ones I don't like. I'm
Oh.
like, I feel left out.
No, what's the worst is when I think it was oh man, I think I was in either eighth or ninth grade, and a lot of my friends at the time were really into Attack on Titan, and they were all watching it, like streaming it,
Hmm.
maybe illegally. I won't disclose that information, but they were watching it, and they were all up to date on it. My problem with that was, I think my building, I think when I was in eighth grade, a lot of my friends watched Attack on Titan, so I watched Attack on Titan,
Hmm.
and they all watched it, on streaming sites, 100% legal, of course.
Hmm.
Um, and I was not, because my brother, like a year before this all transpired, he downloaded a service called Popcorn Time, and he watched South Park on it. And my dad got an email from like our internet service provider, said, "Hey, we've actually detected that there's been some piracy on your internet usage. Stop it, or we'll have to cut you off." Which we
What?
were all very surprised by, because I didn't know that could actually happen. I don't think about that
I
too
hope
much,
th-
if I'm being honest.
I hope they don't, like check on me because there's a lot of piracy going on here. I'd be
No,
watching
no, no,
stuff on
no,
some
no.
weird obscure site all the time.
What you're doing is 100% above board. I have no idea what any of this piracy business is.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't
Yeah,
partake, of course. Oh yeah.
above board, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I was like a whole 2 seasons behind. I think the first part came out on Netflix, and then they just kind of stopped. So I'm just like, hey, it's kind of crazy how you got this one chick who's the evil person that turns into the female Titan. They just kind of dropped off on that, and they're like, yeah, no, actually, there are 2 more seasons. And I'm just like, oh, okay, just hurts.
Hmm. I have been I've been both sides of this environment, like this situation. I've been the one who doesn't understand the references and has been left out, and I've been the one who like constantly references things and leaves other people out.
Yeah.
And from being on both sides, I now have learned to catch myself and go, oh, oh, stop. Nope, stop. I'm doing it again. I'm referencing
Yeah.
things no one else understands.
Oh,
And so I've
any
learned
is it by any chance JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
it might be my that and other things. I have other.
Oh,
I enjoy other things, despite my Twitter. What my Twitter would disclose. Uh, I have other hobbies, but yes, I've been part of that, so I'm able to catch myself when I'm doing that thing, and I'm able to point out like, "Hey, dude, by the way, no one else here understands what the hell you're talking about." So
yeah.
I'm able to
No,
shut it down. But
I think you did that a couple of times when we were visiting for the holidays. I talking about God knows what, probably like some college sports or whatever. You just kind of stopped me and be like, "The fuck are you talking about, man?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah."
oh yeah, yeah, you'd like go on about. I think did do you watch sports?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you watch sports? I don't remember because I'm brain dead. Like, do you pay attention?
To college sports, yeah, and it's only because the reason I got so into college football is because I joined the marching band at Virginia Tech,
Mm-hmm.
and we're at all the home games, and I learned pretty quickly that they're a lot more fun because like I gotta be there no matter what. So I'm just like, oh okay, we're gonna be here. I already thought football was kind of cool, but it's a lot better when your team does really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just makes the whole experience a lot more fun. And so that's when I really started getting into it. And then I like slowly people around me would point stuff out. It's like, oh yeah, no, he's going to do like a jet sweep. Oh, that's an illegal formation, so it's going to be a penalty. So I slowly like learned and became. I just slowly learned way too much about the sport,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'll even catch myself watching like highlight reels on YouTube, and I'm just like, oh man,
What
what's
have I
happening?
become?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous, but I got way into college football, and it got to the point where they made an announcement because like my dad watches ESPN in the morning because
Mm-hmm.
you know he's a white guy in his 40s. Um, like yeah, they might start college football in like empty stadiums with no fans, and in my head I'm just like, no, no.
Well, I think they
I
just
was
decided no. Now.
Yeah, that's my question. I think because they're concerned about what they're gonna do with like eligibility because it's another thing that I learned about is that when you're a college athlete, you have a certain amount of years of eligibility that you can play for the school,
Mm-hmm.
and once you've done all those years, you're done. You either gotta get out or move on, go pro, or just move on. Um, and so I think the reason they're considering that is they just want to keep the cycle going because if they interrupt this cycle, you're gonna get this really weird spot in football where you have a bunch because obviously if they cancel the season, they are gonna end up giving extra years of eligibility to all the athletes that are missing out on a season. You're gonna
Yeah.
get some really weird situations where you might have like a walk-on freshman who's like 18 years old, and someone else could be like 23, 24 because they did a red shirt and then they had another year of eligibility just because they
Mm-hmm.
missed it. And that could just create just like a really weird dynamic. So I
Yeah,
think
there'd
that's
be a
why.
weird like dip in
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
because it's so cyclical in nature. They were
Plus,
talking
I
about
feel
yeah,
like
all that.
because it's so far away, they really don't want to come out and say, "Oh yeah, it's likely that it's just straight up not gonna happen." Because this all started in March, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going through a really ridiculous time. But I still feel like we're all under the notion that it's gonna be over in 2 months. But if they come out and start saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, like fall football, NFL,
Dude, that'd be
NCAA
big.
football, it's all gonna be canceled," I think it's gonna start hitting people that this shit's gonna just be lasting a whole lot longer
Dude,
than everyone.
imagine if they canceled the NFL. like for a full season. Like
I mean, they canceled the rest of the
I know,
NWA.
and
No,
it's
what am I
weird.
saying? NBA.
It's weird
They
because I
canceled
went through
basketball.
March without a bracket because my dad every year would make me make a bracket, and we would
Yeah.
like compare. I don't know anything about basketball, so of course I'd not do very good on my bracket. But it was like an annual thing we did, so I always look forward to like that thing.
Yeah.
And it's weird not having basketball always on the TV. It's
Yeah.
weird. Like the only thing on now is either reruns from games from previous years or
Yes,
like
sir.
golf and poker. A lot of not poker, bowling. They don't do poker. The poker's on Twitch because poker can't go on TV because it has gambling or something. I don't know. There's like
No, that
weird
makes sense.
rules. But it's like other weird reasons that make no sense. But weird like bar games like
Yeah,
that are
sure.
actually still going on because it's you don't need a crowd for that. There's not really a crowd
Yeah.
in general for that thing.
Well, I mean, but also, who the fuck watches bowling?
Not a lot of people. Not a lot of people. Not a lot of people
Yeah,
watch darts either. Or like
like
professional
who,
cornhole, you know,
like
which
who sits down and is
exists.
just like, you know what I'm gonna watch today? Bowling. Yeah.
Hell yeah!
I I still think people who watch golf
My
are
dad does.
insane.
My dad
So
watches it.
if you're gonna come out here and tell me bowling, oh man, I just don't know what to say about that.
Sorry, bro. Gotta pass. Bowling ain't worth
Exactly.
it, dog. Yeah, no, I don't get things like bowling and all that. Like, I get how they're qualified, but I don't get how they have a following, besides small tournaments.
I don't
Like,
know. I mean, when you think about it, Ohio exists. So
damn, really got you thinking. Ohio do
yeah,
exist, though. Have you.
exactly. Like think about Ohio, right? In Ohio, you have Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, and Columbus. It's four towns. Other than that, what else? What else? What else you got going on?
What else is in Ohio? What's there? What is it?
People who watch bowling. That's what's in Ohio.
Bowling
Yeah,
and like every other weird obscure sport. That's the entire crowd is Ohioans.
yeah, bowling, cornhole, uh, other things. I'm sure. I don't know, man.
Dude, I gotta loop back. I gotta loop back. We've mentioned it like twice. Cornhole. I did not. You know what cornhole is, right? It's the tossing the bag into the
Yeah, the beanbag. You
board.
get it
Yeah.
through the hole.
I didn't know it had a name. I wasn't aware there was a name for that game. I always called it bean bags.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
bro, it was on TV. My dad put it on. This was like last year. And
Yeah.
I was like, "What is this? What I think this is?" He's like, "Yeah, that's professional cornhole." And I'm like, "This looks like the best thing ever," because the crowd of people. So it's two dudes or a team, depends on what's going on. And they're throwing
Yeah.
the thing, and they're just sitting there, and they have like beers in their hand, and then the crowd is also like dads, like it's clearly made up of dads, and they're all also holding beers, talking to each other, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, is this really a sport, or is it just a bunch of dudes getting together and hanging out? Like, it does not give off sport vibes in any way. It
No.
gives off I'm watching a party and there's a lot of people. There's like these two guys are really into the cornhole game that's going on. That's the vibe it gives off. It's so strange. And then like there's
No.
commentators who are like, he's
Yeah.
sinking this one, sinks, sinking,
Yeah.
and he misses it. Will this guy be able to cancel him out? And it's like, what am I watching? It was like a different dimension. It was crazy.
Yeah. No. My theory on how cornhole got big. I don't know if you have you ever been to like a craft brewery.
No.
Consider yourself lucky. They're not fun when you can't drink beer, but you have all these places that come popping up, right? And
Mhm.
they're just like, oh yeah, we're just like small independent brewing company. They all make their own brews. They're just like, oh yeah, and they all got like the most ridiculous names. Um, Like this one is like, yeah, we got this thing called a faceplant IPA, and my dad's just like, ooh, we should go over it, and then like always at least 30 minutes away. But my dad's just like, we're gonna go out and do that, and almost all of these places have like cornhole going on, and there's like a surprising amount of people at all these places, which I think is funny because they're always in the middle of nowhere. Um, and they have
This gives
cornhole
off
going
weird
on. And
vibes.
my theory is that at some point they just brought in a camera crew and they gave the people some like funky looking shirts and said, "Hey guys, get really into this and make some money." Because you got everyone around, they're all drinking fancy ass beer. They're all people who can, afford craft breweries. It's
Yeah.
just stuff like that. It's like, yeah, and they're just panning out. They're like, oh yeah, get those people. They're chatting it up. They got the brews and all this stuff going on. It's like, yeah, they're really into this. It's like, no, they're just drinking.
Yeah, half that crowd has no idea there's a cornhole game going on. they're doing
Just
their own
probably
thing. Just
just like the people who actually go to like cornhole events. They're just like, oh, there's a thing. Oh, I'm just sipping some brews with the boys, because that's how you do it.
I love the idea that like this guy, he's like sitting there sipping his drink, and he goes, "There's a lot of cornhole going on around here. You don't know why?" It's like, I don't know. There seems to be a lot, right? Like they have no idea. Like they just stumbled there. Like that's the crowd.
Yeah.
That's a good theory there. Also, there must be like a rule. Like, do you think like they're all sitting there drinking it, right? Like beer. Do you think they
Yeah.
like have to have either like they can't go over a certain amount? Like, do you think some guys are like there's a dude who's like, okay, it's on TV. We got to keep it professional. We can't get this amount. You can't get too crazy. But I like
No.
the idea that there's like some dudes who go to the competitive board of cornhole, the cornhole board, and they go, now I need to get at least this drunk to be able to play at my perfect best. And if you don't allow that, I cannot perform and make good TV for you. And I know you want good TV and good numbers, and the best way to do that is to get me a little tipsy so I can play cornhole like the best of them, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few of those guys,
Oh,
and that makes it even
100%.
better. Like, just thinking about the fact that, like, Jim over here probably is wasted, and he's playing like a god.
No, I feel like not only would they have a bar like that for the people who are playing, but probably also for the audience, so they can be, into it. Because I feel like you have to be at least 3 to 4 beers in order to really start getting into cornhole. Like other than that, you're just like, yeah, wow, he landed a few on that one. That's pretty good, man. But like 3 to 4 in, you're just like, yo, he sunk that.
Yo,
Um,
everyone's freaking out,
yeah,
hugging each other.
yeah, exactly. So I feel like, you had something like that, which is like, yeah, the players probably have to be a few in order to perform in the rest of it. And then you also need the fans to be loaded so they get really into it.
Yeah, it makes good TV.
Exactly.
I,
Speaking of good TV, and I know you have a lot of time on your hands,
I do.
have you seen The Tiger King on
My
Netflix?
parents literally were watching it like earlier. My dad's into it. My mom thinks it's stupid, but she can be wrong. I've watched the first episode and about half of the second, and I love it. It's amazing, and it's amazing. I don't know. I think it's so cool that
Yeah.
these people exist. They're real. This is real. This isn't staged. And I have to remind myself every time someone does something as crazy as they do that this is not scripted.
Yeah.
Like this happened, and
Yeah.
that's cool.
No, so my question for you is, you saw the episode about Carol Baskin, right?
I've seen the memes and I've seen her introduction, so I know who
Okay.
she is.
So
That damn
I
Carol
mean, I'm sure
Baskin.
you've seen enough memes, so I'm sure you understand. But basically, they introduced the idea that Carol Baskin killed her husband and
Yes.
fed him to tigers
Yes.
in order to inherit a lot of his money. And they go into it, and they end up finding out that like after like he went missing. He went missing.
Yeah, no.
Um, yeah, and she went in and reframed his will. So it stated that in the event that I am dead or missing,
Oh, that's
like
no, yeah.
that was in his will, right? So it's kind of suspicious. Do you think that Carol Baskin killed her husband?
After hearing that and all the memes that talk about the evidence and just the first episode where it introduced all the characters, she looks and sounds like someone who would feed her husband to tigers for money, and
Yeah,
I 100% think that she did from what I've seen.
100. Because
If something
the other
else
thing,
says otherwise, I don't care. I think she did.
yeah, the other thing that happens is that whenever she's asked to talk about it, she never fails to break into this like nervous laughter. And I don't know if that's just part of her personality. You know how like when it like terrible people get nervous,
Hmm.
they just kind of start laughing and be like, haha, yeah.
Yeah,
She does that every single time they bring up the idea of her killing her husband.
shady.
Like that's like in the interview. So yeah, Carol Baskin, 100% killed her husband. But, and this is kind of a controversial opinion, because I finished the whole thing, right?
Hmm.
Joe Exotic kind of deserves to be in prison. I
Oh,
will
I
say.
am under no impression that anyone in that show does not deserve prison time in some way, shape, or form. Everyone's crazy, and everyone probably has attempted at least murder once. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. Nah, the only person who doesn't deserve to be in prison, and he isn't in prison, and I hope it stays that way, is Joe Exotic's campaign manager from when he ran for president and then governor. Uh, yeah, his name's like Dial or something like that.
Hmm.
Absolute legend. His introduction, like shot when they introduced his character, it's him like ripping a dab pen. And he,
It's
and he
fucking.
and he fucking coughs. And you know that he had to look at that and they're just like, hey, we're gonna have this like intro shot of you, hitting a dab pen. And it's like it looks like you coughed a bit. And he must have looked at it and been like, no, 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 use it.
I love because I know from being in the major of media production, we talk about things like permissions. So you have to like get people, anyone who's in anything that airs anywhere, they need to sign stuff, and
Yeah,
they can at any point be like, what are you going to air?" And they can tell you and all that stuff. So at any point, any of these people could be like, "Hey, can I see what's going on? Can you at least like explain what's going on?" And
yeah,
they have the option to say, "No, I don't want you that in there. Like, don't," because they're not news. They can't like do the thing where like it was in an interview that was agreed upon by them, so we can take anything they say. It's like different.
yeah.
Uh, so when like that one dude, I forgot his name. He has no teeth. He's bald.
Oh,
I think he was
Joe's
like,
husband.
yeah, I don't know if it was his ex-husband at the time. The
Yeah,
dude, he's just in this recliner, shirt off, like he's just
yeah.
gut out. And I'm like, you could choose at least to be. You know how you look. You have done it. And he's like, nah, that's great. Just show me like that. Like, why? Who are you? Why? It's the weirdest thing. It's full of a bunch of weirdos. They're all like, dude.
Dude. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I'm gonna love the rest of it.
It,
I've just been too busy to.
absolute, absolutely fantastic. I recommend.
Yeah,
Other than that, all other Netflix releases absolutely complete garbage.
most, yeah.
Although there is one that I don't know if it's out yet, but they're coming out with it, and it's called like Hands Off or something. And what
Hmm.
they've done is they got it's either 20 or 30 people, and these people are like hot. Like they got probably the hottest individuals they could find, and they're just like, yo, we're gonna put them all on an island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna say, hey, you can be on this island and you can live this great lifestyle, and we're gonna have a cash prize for the person who stays on this island the longest. I guess it'd be two people in this case.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they can't do is they can't like kiss each other, and they can't have sex with each other, and they're just gonna see how long they can keep people on these islands until they just break.
So is the point to like have two people who like already know each other, or is
No, no, they're like 20 or 30 like complete strangers, and they're all hot.
and their goal is to just how long can they stand being in
Yeah,
proximity with this person?
yeah.
Is the goal of
Because
it for them to like get like in a relationship, or is it just
oh, I
can
have
they
no
not
idea.
kill each other?
All I know is that they took a bunch of hot people and put them on an island and said, "Hey, you can't fuck each other."
What is the goal? It's like that have you heard about Love is Blind, I think, or something, the show? There's like
Nah.
this show, I don't know where it is. It might be on Netflix. And the whole point is that these people can't see each other because there's like a wall, and you live on each side of this wall, and you can talk to the people, but you can't see, and
Oh,
obviously you
okay.
can't. And they try to. The whole goal is to go find someone that you're willing to marry and propose to just with their voice. And so like, there's people who like will be like, "Oh, I'm really connecting with this person. I think we're ready to marry." They've never seen each other. There's a wall. Like I think
Yeah.
silhouettes. I have not seen the show. I've just heard this. They don't know. Like I think we're ready to marry. We really connect, and then they do, and then it's like a gremlin comes out from the other side because you don't like see like you don't see them see each other. They just like, and so they're like, "Hey," it's like I've heard it's like super funny. But I hate those type of shows, so I don't think I'd ever like get into it. But it does seem like a very interesting concept.
No, the only thing that would make that show better was if they had you had you have two guys, and they both think that the person on the other side is a girl, and they just like really start getting to know each other, Reddit foes, and then they drop the thing, and there's just two straight dudes staring at
How
each other.
I like the idea that somehow they couldn't click. He's like at the end they drop the thing and they're like, "That's why you're really into NASCAR." That explains it.
Yeah,
No wonder you had only male friends when we were talking, you know? It's just like really strange, like things finally click. That'd be
it's like
hilarious.
that's why it felt like you were one of the boys.
One of the boy, you want to be a boy? Like, I like it. That's how the best bro friendships start, probably.
Yeah,
They really connected on an emotional bro level.
yeah. No, there's a show. Have you ever watched the IT Crowd?
No.
Okay. Um, it's on Netflix, I think. Go ahead and do yourself a favor and watch that. It's fantastic. But there's an episode where I think that it's basically it's about the IT department at a company. And
Mm-hmm.
there's an episode where like the head of the company um seduces a female reporter who like just so happens to be a tranny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what happens is she tries to tell him like initially, and she's just I used to be a man, and he's just like, oh, I don't care. And you have them going through like their whole like romantic arc, and they're all just doing like dude stuff, like they're drinking beers at the pub,
With the boys.
they're drinking beer at the pub. They're like playing darts. They're eating pizza in bed while watching like soccer, having a great time. And at the end of the episode, the guy's just like, "This is really really awesome. I can't believe you were afraid to date me because you were from Iran." And she's just like, "Oh no."
Wait, does that mean he like misunderstood and thought that she said I'm
Yeah,
from
no,
Iran instead of I was a man?
yeah.
That's so.
And
I
I
like
think
that.
that's all the funny thing is that they show the two people having sex, so I feel like at that point, how do you not know?
Very
Like,
well hidden, I guess. I don't know. That whole concept, that's a funny concept, I feel. Like the
yeah,
misunderstood but just doesn't
yeah,
click at all even though there's hints dropped. Like that's just really funny.
exactly. Now that stuff like that is just absolutely hilarious. Um, I love it. It's great. It's great.
Well, I hate to we have this good flow going, but I hate to drop it. We're reaching my time limit. It's getting
Oh,
long.
really?
Yeah, hour and 10 minutes.
Oh,
And mine are usually like 45 minutes long, a little bit over.
oh,
Look at
wow.
you. Content
Yeah,
god. No, but
yeah.
we'll wrap up. I don't know if you do anything, but I asked everyone because I have a lot of friends who like do stuff online, like they stream on Twitch.
Do
Do you
stuff.
anything you want to plug to 20 people?
Anything I want to plug? Follow me on Twitter at
I
Lil
will link it
Barstool.
in the description.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I tweet unfunny content. That's about it. I
You
don't
have
do
some
much
banger
else.
tweets.
Um. Oh, just one more thing I would like to say.
Hmm.
Just for anyone who goes to Virginia Tech who may be watching this, uh, fuck you VA. That's it. Follow me on Twitter and fuck you VA.
Well, thanks for being on.
Yeah, no problem. It was a lot of fun.
You really stuck your neck out because I needed a guest tonight, and you were
Yeah,
like, I got you. So dope. Sweet. Um, thanks for being on.
yeah.
I always
Thanks
wave.
for having me.
I always wave.